They say motherhood is a journey, but let's be honest, sometimes it feels more like a roller coaster with no seatbelt. I bet you're like me, wondering why babies, or teens in my case, don't come with instruction manuals. Welcome to This Incredible Mom Life, the podcast that celebrates the beautiful chaos, quiet wins, messy moments, and everyday miracles of being a mom. I'm your host, Dummy, wellness coach, mom of 3 boys, and a passionate believer that you don't have to live at the mercy of PMS, burnout, or exhaustion. Join me every week as we hear the craziest and most unbelievable mom stories. I'll be sharing the huge accomplishments and triumphs of both our moms and their kids. We'll giggle, cheer on the kids, and discuss obstacles and lessons learned along the way. If you are struggling to be the best mom you can be, how open-minded are you to booking a free call with me? You don't have to live at the mercy of your cycle, and you definitely don't have to do it alone. Give yourself permission to let me be part of your support system. I believe that you weren't meant to just survive motherhood. You were meant to thrive in it. Today's supermom didn't just survive motherhood, she built something meaningful alongside it. Dr. Angela Sanfilippo Casey is a double board-certified dermatologist and micrographic dermatologic surgeon with a focus on skin cancer and cosmetic dermatology. She is a partner in a suburban private practice, Center for Surgical Dermatology in Columbus, Ohio. She is assistant program director and head of the Dermatologic Surgery of the OhioHealth Dermatology residency program. As a mother of 3 daughters, Dr. Casey is passionate about educating and empowering youth with the knowledge, tools, and daily habits to care for their skin and prevent the majority of skin changes that she sees in her practice each day. Her roles demonstrate her commitment to teaching, and she uses various media outlets to share fact-based, practical skin health knowledge with the community at large. Dr. Casey is the founder of Bright Girl Youth Skincare, a collection created to instill effective and consistent daily skincare habits from a young age. Bright Girl's mission is to prevent skin damage and ultimately create an impact on skin cancer incidence. Thank you, Dr. Casey, for joining me today.
Thank you so much, Ami, for the invitation. I'm so excited to connect with you and your listeners today.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. So tell us about your 3 daughters.
So we have 3 teen and tween daughters. They are 17, 14, and 11 now. So we're in a little bit of a golden age, I would say. Like when they were younger, like ages 4, 7, and 10, that was a golden age. This is another one. It's just different. We're just able to do more meaningful things with them. They don't require as much day to day, like all the maintenance. And it's just so fun to watch them growing into young adults. It's a really cool phase. And I think we're kind of a little bit outside of those crazy puberty adolescent years for our older 2. Our youngest is kind of ramping up, so we'll see. Check back with me in a year. It might be a very different era of raising them. With girls,
Yeah.
as you know, I know you have 3 sons, but you can relate because you're a woman yourself. It's a little bit of a roller coaster during those hormonal years of early adolescence. And my husband is one of 3 boys in his family. So he grew up in a family similar to yours, having 2 brothers. So it's all very foreign to him. And he's just trying to survive it, I would say.
Yeah,
And
it's
I'm
a lot of
always saying
estrogen in
it's
the
totally
house.
normal, totally normal.
Yeah, a lot of estrogen for him to deal with, which is good. So tell us a story about your daughters.
Um, well, I would say that they are um, a story about them. Okay, hold on, I have to think on this for a little bit. I love the moments when they really like lean into one another. And recently, our oldest had gone through a breakup with a guy that she was dating. And it was our 14-year-old that was really counseling the 17-year-old on why boys are not the be all end all and that she deserves better than this and that it's not a reflection on her and it was his loss. And I loved seeing her kind of step into this maternal role as a sister, but just really being there because I think sometimes sisters can talk in a way that we can't, it's not the same relationship as a parent-daughter relationship. My 14-year-old, I always say she's 14 going on 40 because she often gives me advice on how to raise our 11-year-old.
Nice.
I'll tell you one more quick story. My 14-year-old and I love to go for walks together, and we have these great conversations when we go walking. But recently on our walk, she used the analogy, right now, my little sister, so Brooke, who's 11, is like clay. And you can still mold her, mom. There's still this opportunity. But soon she's going to get hard and set in her ways, and then game over. And I thought that was such a funny comparison.
I
It
love
just,
that.
yeah, illustrative of how her mind is thinking at this stage, but very
Yeah, and
sweet.
it's very true, right?
Hmm.
She's absolutely right. So, um, a funny story of how you say that your 14-year-old parents the other ones. We've been harping on our kids like you have to eat your protein, you have to, sleep, you have to eat healthy, you have to bulk up, you have to do all these things, right? And I just thought I was going in one ear and out the other. And we were out to dinner a couple of weeks ago, and my oldest is telling my youngest, so my he's 16 and the youngest is 12, and he's like, you got to eat your protein if you want to build muscle. You got to work out. And me and my husband are like, wait a minute, is he just giving advice that we used to give him?
Right, exactly. But you've got
So
to love it when they are those little sponges that take in more than they let us know in that moment.
yeah, and I guess something we said stuck because he was giving the advice off to his younger brother, or in your case, the older sister. So
Hmm.
um, I love that, and I that shows a nice, strong family bond for your kids. So that's amazing.
Thank
All
you.
right. Well, tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Yeah, so I am, as you mentioned, a double board certified dermatologist and dermatologic surgeon in Columbus, Ohio. And what that means is in my practice every day, I treat skin damage and skin cancers surgically with a procedure called Mohs surgery, where we microscopically map out the cancer cells in real time while the patient's in office until we clear all of those skin cancer cells. And once they're clear, then we perform reconstructive surgery in office. So it's all done same day. It's an amazing specialty of medicine. I feel so fortunate to be in a field that is very gratifying in terms of what we can offer our patients, kind of that real time, same day solution with really high cure rates and having that opportunity to alleviate them of that anxiety of having the cancer diagnosis. So that's what I do day to day. 20 years after starting practice, I still love going into work every day. It's such a privilege. And then, of course, my other most important job is being the mom to those three sweet teens and tweens and wife to an amazing husband. Michael and I have been married 20 years now. And it is truly that strong family unit that is the rock in the midst of this big, busy, crazy, hectic life.
Nice. I used to work in radiation oncology, so we saw a lot of these skin cancer patients and the ones who had Mohs and this and that. So
Hmm.
you're doing some important work, and I appreciate that. Um, so tell us about skincare. Why is it so important?
Our skin, first of all, is the largest organ in our body, and I think some individuals know that and some don't. But it really is so instrumental in our overall health because our skin is that intersection of where our internal selves communicates with the outside world. So you think of all of the environmental pollutants and allergens, humidity, water in our bodies. Our skin is what's keeping all of that in balance. And when we are not taking care of our skin and giving it that proper respect that it needs, we see a lot of issues with inflammation, skin barrier breakdown, irritation, redness, exacerbation of conditions like acne and eczema, which are all too common in today's population. So It plays such a critical role with those functions. Our skin also contains a good percentage of our immune system cells, so around 20%. And a lot of people don't realize that. But when we're talking about keeping a strong immune system and kind of training our immune system to handle everything going on in our external environments, our skin is really, really foundational in that. So, again, if our skin is not healthy, our immune system gets out of balance and things are going to get out of whack throughout our bodies. Our skin also has a very close connection with our gut and with our brain. So it is very important as we're looking at skin health that we are optimizing our gut health and keeping that gut microbiome nice and strong because that in turn is going to support our skin health. And likewise, that brain skin axis is really strongly related to stress and things like sleep deprivation, illnesses, et cetera, that we might experience and how that manifests in our skin health. So all of these things tied together. But if we neglect our skin, we're really doing our overall health a disservice.
Yeah, I agree. Um, and that's why people with, gut issues or, other issues, you see more acne and more flare-ups of their eczema when they're stressed and things like that. So it definitely plays a role. Um, Now talk about how, especially for women, how our skin changes with the hormones and like things like puberty and pregnancy and perimenopause.
Yeah, dramatic shifts during those eras of our life. So, just a reminder, and I think your audience is pretty educated on this because of the topics that you cover. But as women, we have testosterone and estrogen and progesterone. So we have all these hormones, and testosterone is still the most prevalent, most predominant hormone in us, even as women. We don't have as much as men, obviously, but we still have a lot of testosterone. And why that testosterone is so important is that it plays a role in driving oil production in our skin. So during those periods in our lives when those testosterone levels are starting to climb, for example, the first time we see that is in puberty, we're seeing the increased oil production within our skin, and our oil glands are most prevalent on our head area, so in our face and on our scalp, but also on our chest and back, which is why a lot of teens might see some acne lesions on their chest and back. And it all is somewhat rooted in that oil production as a triggering factor. Now, acne is also triggered by clogged pores and inflammation. So there's a few other factors at play here, but it's important to understand how that hormone component plays in. Likewise, when we go through pregnancy, obviously another big shift in our hormone balance that is, I would say, more of a variable presentation in individuals. So you have some women who kind of sail through their pregnancy and they have this gorgeous, glowing, radiant skin and all this energy and they feel great. And then you have a whole nother camp that they're tired, their skin's breaking out with terrible acne. They've got sensitive skin, eczema, it's blotchy, it's dehydrated, so all the things. So it can really go either way. And similarly, in menopause, as those estrogen and progesterone levels are continuing to climb downwards and we're losing some of that natural support for our skin. I think an important message for your listeners to be reminded of is that in the postmenopausal years, we can lose up to 30% of our collagen. So our collagen reaches its peak around age 20 and it slowly declines from age 20. So going down about 1% per year. We can do things like using retinoids on our skin, doing procedures like lasers and chemical peels to help boost and support our collagen. But the intrinsic aging and degradation of our collagen is occurring. Estrogen and progesterone play a big role in supporting our collagen and elastic fibers. And when we start to lose those hormones in the perimenopausal and menopausal years, our collagen levels kind of go off a cliff. And that big drop in, again, up to 30% in the 5 years post-menopause. So everything we can do in our younger years to build that healthy strong, supple skin, help support that collagen and those elastic fibers is so critical. It's not unlike bone density and muscle volume, which I know you've spoken about on your podcast previously.
Yeah. And so another thing that I've talked about on my podcast is that we are putting a lot of toxins on our skin. So just touch on that briefly, like where can we find some of these toxins? What are they?
I think some of the most common ones that we see in traditional skincare are phthalates. So these are hormone disruptors. They are used to help stabilize personal care products in helping with the fragrance within personal care products and again, stabilizing them. But we know that they can kind of mimic hormones in our body, and that can throw everything off. So that's a big one. Another common one that we see in dermatology, and that's actually a big culprit in allergic contact dermatitis, are formaldehyde releasers, which go under, there's a whole lot of names of them, like DMDM, hydantone, quaternium 15, bronopol, there's a whole long list of them. But what these are preservatives within personal care products. So very irritating to the skin. Again, a well-recognized culprit for contact dermatitis. I think the other big ones, so we have to be careful with preservatives, and I think being very intentional about preservative selection. Parabens are another one, which I think have gotten a bad name. When you look at the science of parabens, they're not as bad as they are portrayed to be, but still something that is somewhat controversial in a lot of people's minds. There was about 10 or 15 years ago a link found between parabens and breast cancer, which has subsequently been disproven, but a lot of people still have that link in their mind. But when you look at the actual studies and you break them down, they were flawed studies, maybe somewhat similar to the Women's Health Initiative, that when you go back and you look at the data, you realize, oh, it's not exactly like the media played it out to be. A couple others that come to mind, of course, are synthetic fragrances, which, again, when you're putting chemicals that really were not created to be in our world naturally together, that's always not always going to play nicely with our skin. Same with artificial dyes are a big one. And then petrolatum, many people just want to avoid those for personal reasons. Although in the dermatology space, there is a time and a place for petrolatum with wound healing.
Yep. And I talk about all of those, most of those things. So, it's in the makeup, it's in your, cleaning products. I mean, like your moisturizer and your face cleaner and all that shampoos and all this. So we really have to be careful. But you developed a line called Bright Girl products. So tell us about those now.
Well, we created Bright Girl to really serve as that solution to every parent out there who has a teen or a tween or a college age student who's very interested in skincare, and that parent has no idea what to buy for their child. I found this in my own household that my daughters were really gravitating towards brands that had all of those bad ingredients that I just mentioned. And I knew as a dermatologist, those were not ideally suited for their young skin. I also recognize as a dermatologist that the skin within the childhood through the teen years and even into the early 20s is very unique. It still is varying in terms of its microbiome, which is evolving. That skin barrier is not fully developed. So you really have to be respectful of that and select ingredients that are very age appropriate, that are going to nourish and support their skin so that they start their skincare journey out in a very successful way. Moving over to the clinical side of my practice, I know that many of the skin cancers I am treating today are rooted in sun damage from the childhood and teenage years. So the sooner we get that sun protection and those good habits on board, the longer, the better benefit and the better long-term skin health that patients are going to have. And that the sooner we start those habits for young people, the more likely they are to be successful. So, in order to do that, you've got to create a brand that really connects with our teens and tweens, and they are a very fickle audience. So, you have to make it really exceptional with the packaging and the experience of using the products and the smell and the feel and how everything absorbs. But then, as a mom and as a dermatologist, I knew that this brand had to have the best ingredients that were the most appropriate for young skin. And I wanted to take all the guesswork out for parents who are struggling in terms of deciding what skincare is safe. So everything within the Bright Girl line is paraben, sulfate, phthalate free. We don't have any artificial dyes or formaldehyde releasers or any of those ingredients, no petrolatum. There's a whole no thank you list, we call it, on our website for anyone who's interested. And really offering a solution. And in doing so, we've seen great success and this tremendous growth because there is such a craving for really good, high quality skincare that's going to work for sensitive skin, but that our young people are going to love so much that they are going to look forward to washing their face at night and be excited to put their sunscreen on in the morning. And with that immediate positive feedback, that's how we start to build those really good habits and teach them how to properly care for their skin.
Yeah. I love that. I learned about all this in my 40s, that all these things were bad for you and hormone disruptors and all these things. So for your girls to learn about it in their teens is amazing. And it's going to save them so many years of hassle and, um, just trouble with the skin. So I love what you're doing. I love that you're targeting the young audience. Um, and you have a special offer that you would like to share with my audience. So go ahead
Yes,
and share that.
yes. We're going to give a 20% off discount to any of your listeners, and the code is AMY20, so AMY20, all one word. And you can use that on the Bright Girl website, which is just brightgirl.com, BRIGHTGIRL.com. But we really want to give your listeners the opportunity to try these products and use them. And again, be those parents who are setting their kids up for success. It's also really important to message that self-care is healthcare. And when we are equipping our young people with the proper tools to care for their skin, and they are really realizing the reward of those habits are when they are becoming knowledgeable and educated about caring for their skin, and then they can share that with other friends and peers. It really builds this confidence, and that's such a win for parents. It's a win for our children. Additionally, skincare is something that is a really like wonderful foundational practice in the day. It's something that sets the tone for young people's day as they're getting ready and kind of getting energized and ready to take on the day. But it checks that box of I've done something nice for myself today. And
Mm,
likewise, at the end of the day, when they're washing their face and moisturizing, maybe using a face mask, they're really getting to live that unwinding process and settling down and kind of bringing their stress levels down as they're preparing to sleep. And they're providing their skin all of those nutrients that it needs to rest and recover overnight so that it's optimized and ready for the next day.
yeah, I love that. I actually tried your moisturizer and the toner, and I liked it. So yeah, they're good products. Go get them, try them out, and let Dr. Casey know what you think once you try them.
One of my favorite bits of feedback and stories is when a parent will randomly email us just through our website, and the message will go something like, my daughter has tried so many different brands, and every brand broke her out and inflamed her skin. And she was just getting so discouraged. And then we found Bright Girl and we thought, oh, we'll just give it a try. And it's worked beautifully. And we hear that consistently for these individuals who have traditionally had really irritable skin that didn't tolerate a lot of products. So offering a solution and then allowing parents to be the hero in that story, right? Like, oh, look what I found for you. It's the skincare that's like perfect for your skin and it works. And it's just a win for everybody all the way around because it's hard. Too often as parents, we don't know what direction to go, and we're just kind of guessing as we're selecting brands. So,
Yeah.
having a brand that really speaks to our own personal values that we can trust, that's been validated by thousands of dermatologists across the country, I think it just really is that solution and gives parents that the confidence to purchase and say, this is something I want to try.
This is amazing. And I will put the links to all your products and everything down below so people can find them. How can people connect with you?
So we are on social media at Bright Girl Beauty. That's all one word, BRIGHTGIRL Beauty. And then, as I mentioned, just on our website, which is just brightgirl.com.
Nice. Again, those links will be below. And I want to thank you for joining me today. This was really informative.
Thank you so much for the invitation, Ami. I appreciate it.
Yeah. And in closing, if you have teenage daughters, I hope this episode was really helpful to you and it gives you something new to try, and hopefully you'll like it. You will see me back again next week with another episode.
Are you struggling to be the best mom you can be? Are you fatigued, overwhelmed, and stressed out? Are you losing precious time with your family because of PMS? If so, sign up for my free gift on how to start living in tune with your monthly cycle. The link to get it is in the show notes below. Use this guide to help you start to eliminate your symptoms of PMS, increase your energy, reduce stress, and fully enjoy this incredible mom life. The way I see it, you have three choices. You can try to figure it all out on your own. You can do nothing and stay where you are, or you can get the customized guidance you need to thrive as a mom. The choice is yours. Thanks for listening to today's episode. I hope you learned something from these stories. If you enjoyed this show, please make sure to subscribe, rate, review, and share this podcast. It really helps this show grow. If you have a mom story you would like to share, click on the link in the description below on becoming a podcast guest. Remember, the content on this podcast is for general information only. It does not replace any medical advice given by your healthcare providers. Please check with your doctor if you have any questions about your specific condition and before starting any new diet or exercise regimen. Thank you, and you will hear from me soon.